You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive. Stiff arms to your jaw, we breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown, we taking it.
What's good, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Melo. That's the world famous B. Moses. That's championship natty daddy G. Scott Sr. And we got a special treat for you guys today. This one's going to be a banger. You already know G. Scott brings the energy. B. Moses brings the energy. So we're gonna do it up and do it big for you guys today. How you guys doing?
We good. I'm grateful y'all having me on, man. You know, I've been waiting. When is my turn to get on this show? You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it, brother. You know, what's happening?
Anytime, man. I'm good, man. We're happy to see you. Dev is actually helping his girl move today, so that's why he wasn't here. But you know, B. Moses is that guy. I don't know if you got to see any content with B. Moses. He does some stuff with Funky Buck under the Buckeye Scoop moniker, who Kirk Barton has a tree in Buckeye Grove. So I mean, this dude he's a legend right here.
Okay, right on. Love it, love being here. What's happening? What we talking about today, man? Come on, the NFL draft is tomorrow. All kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, we can start there with the NFL draft. Do you think we're gonna break the record of 15, or do you think we tie it?
You might. I mean, and I think that you know, you for sure tie it, right? You know, that happens. And then if you break it, I mean, you know, that's a big year for the Buckeyes, natty, and then breaking a record like that. But either way, you know, I look at the NFL draft like a wedding. You know what I mean? That's what it is. The NFL draft is a wedding. Sometimes you have extravagant weddings. Sometimes you have small weddings. But sometimes also more stock is put into the wedding than into the marriage. You feel me? So in this case, when you start talking about the NFL draft, I mean, sure, great. It's going to happen over the next 3 days. We're going to find out who's who and who goes where, drafted or not drafted. But when it's all said and done and you rack them and stack them, it's about that career. It's about what happens after this week. So either way, I do believe that Buckeyes are some of the most prepared players that's going to be coming into this season. Why? Is because the old saying developed here. That's a reason. Not just on the field, but off the field, in your heart, how you are, what you stand for, what you are about. It's a championship mentality. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of first rounders, second rounders. Sometimes you like, hey, whatever happened to so-and-so, right? Well, so-and-so didn't do the right things off the field. So so-and-so got wiped out the league real fast. You feel me? So again, I'm really confident in what them boys are about coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah, man. That's a great intro to kick this off, because I had some questions, and we'll get into it as the conversation flows later about the program and your perception and just all that with your son. But listen, man, I'm super excited about this draft, y'all. I haven't been this excited about a draft in years. Obviously, the number of Buckeyes that can go is one big reason. But a lot of what you just hit on, G, is these young men seeing their journey. Obviously, your son is a big part of that. And again, I want to touch on that. I got a few questions I want to throw at you about your son. But G's journey, Trey's journey, Jack Sawyer, JT. I mean, we can go down the line. Emeka Ibuka. Just seeing where they land initially, and then knowing the confidence that they've been built and developed so much that they're going to be a blessing to whatever locker room they go to. Right. So there's the intrigue and all of that. But the other element is, and I don't know in the chat, G, Melo, if you noticed this, but I've been just watching, man. It just seemed like our players are getting slept on. Like they're getting left out of the discussions for, like, you know, the best out of their group and first round. And it's just, I'm like, what's going on with that? Now, at the end of the day, we know these GMs, they got their guys. They're gonna keep their mouth shut. But it just seems like there's not a lot of love for some of these guys who absolutely deserve it. What do y'all think about that? Are y'all noticing that as well?
I 100% am. I heard somewhere where they're talking about Mecca. Mech is a second round draft pick. On what planet? What can Mech not do? He can line up outside. He can line up in the slot. He can run every route in the route tree. He catches everything. He has good speed. I mean, and he's coming from a hardline production. Like, that's the one thing you should never question is Ohio State wide receiver. Also with G Scott, it makes zero sense. And I'm not saying this because you're there. When you look at G's 40 time, he would have the fastest 40 time at the combine, right? He's catching everything. He converted from wide receiver, so you know he has hands. Now he has the size, he could block. So why wouldn't you want to draft him as a tight end? It just doesn't make sense to me. I think personally, what I think is happening is what happens every year. They're going to downplay the players they want, so that way they could slide and they don't have to spend as much capital or worry about someone trying to steal the player that they actually want, a little chess pieces. And I think we're going to break the record. Personally, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think we get 16. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be a beautiful thing. By the way, if you've heard and listened to me talk, sometimes I get carried away, man. Analogies,
get carried away. That's what everybody loves about it.
I get going. But football is a microcosm of life. I always say there's no closer thing to life than football. The NFL draft reminds me of that, right? There's a bunch of teams that are out here. We used to go to the clubs and you get to choosing, right? They might be bad on IG. You know what I mean? Yeah, they bad on IG. They look a certain way. The 40 times, the bench press, the film. Ooh, I think this and I think that. They bad on IG. But then you come up, you find out they got daddy issues. Right? You really find out when you get into that first argument with that significant other. You're like, oh man, this ain't who I thought it is. So at the end of the day, when you take a Mecca, right? You take a Mecca. Now, we feel a certain way about Mecca because we got close and personal, got to see him his entire career, right? A lot of people, they see, okay, we see what he does on film and we see those things. And we question like, huh? Mac gonna be in the league 10 years.
Right.
In 10 years. And so if you were GM, I'm talking about Mac, not only would you want him to be on the football field, you would also let him come over and watch your kids.
Right.
And play video game with your kids. Now let's be real. Some of these players, you ain't letting them around your damn kids. You
Not
know
at all.
I'm saying? So
Not at all.
Again, that's what this is all about. Now, again, all of us, probably all your viewers right now, yeah, we pro Buckeyes. We feel a certain type of way. And sometimes some of these Buckeyes don't fit certain situations. I'll take my son for an example. People keep asking me, man, what you think? You think you're going to get drafted? He might. He might not. You see what I'm saying? And if he doesn't get drafted, I always say this. Y'all got to remember, the Scott family's still playing with house money. I was living in my car in 2009. Now stop for a minute. I'm living in my car in 2009, and you mean to tell me that 16 years later my son is a national champion?
Yeah.
Huh? I'm playing with house money, baby.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And so I really, and I mean that because no matter what happens with the trajectory of my son, or no matter what happens this week, he still got to go make a team. And guess what? No matter how long he plays football, let's say he plays 10 years. That will put him at 33, 34 years old. Guess what? He still got the rest of life. You know what I mean? And guess what he gets to fall back on? Being a national champion forever. He get to come back to Columbus every time a national champion. That banner is going to be hanging right there. You know what I'm saying? 2024 national champion. So I sometimes that people see my attitude and they be like, man, is he always like that? Yes. Every time I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful to be on this earth. You know how many people that didn't wake up this morning? So for us to be talking about whether or not the Buckeyes are going to break the record and everything like that, look, let's be real. The Buckeyes are the standard, right? Ohio State football is the standard. Let me ask y'all, how many players went in the portal after the spring for Ohio State?
2 or 3.
3.
We had 3? No, I thought we had 2.
Walk-ons, and then TC Caffey just went
TC
in.
Caffey, yeah.
Oh, did TC go in?
Yeah.
Didn't
Today.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh, today.
Today.
Oh,
Right.
Hey, and your boy been busy all day long. I had no idea. Man, shout out TC. TC's a good young man. Love that young man. But again, guys, I do think I'm biased towards these Buckeyes. I'm biased thinking they will be great players for these franchises. So we're gonna see what it does. I mean, I love every single. I mean, it's hard not to, right? But I love every single guy from Jordan Hancock to JT to Mac to Donovan Jackson. I mean, man, they're going to get some good players. Tyleek, all of them. Now, I don't feel like going through all the names, so I don't want any parents or anybody thinking I didn't love their child.
Man, you saw what Urban Meyer said. He said in like 3 to 5 years from now, people are going to realize like this was one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in college football history. And he knows a thing or two about having elite rosters. Look at his programs down in Florida, Utah, even 2014 team at Ohio State. And that's the one thing no one can take away. Urban Meyer's won every single place that he's been since Bowling Green. So, I mean, if anyone is qualified to say what roster is what, I think that's the guy.
Hey, man. It's a talented roster. It was. I mean, even before this roster, I think that's how the Ohio State has been, right? It's been to where you're 2s and 3s. I mean, let's call it a buck. Let's give it a buck. My man Seth McLaughlin, All-American center, All-American center, and the left tackle, projected first round pick went down.
Yep.
And they still kept going.
With all guards in the rotation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I really believe a lot of these guys, when they get to this next level, they really gonna flourish. And the beautiful thing that Ryan Day did with this team is you had a bunch of guys that all was about team, right? Mac never complained about Jeremiah Smith being talked about as a great best wide receiver in the game. Jeremiah he didn't complain when he got, let me see, against Texas. How many catches he have against Texas?
Yeah, 1 catch, 3 targets.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like special. Everybody playing their role. You know what I mean? My son come on. University of Oregon had no idea that G. Scott Jr. would be the first one to catch that ball in a wheel route.
That was a beautiful play.
And I was there in person. It was amazing.
You know what I'm saying? No, nobody thought that, but that's the team part. My son never got another catch the rest of the time. Don't matter.
That set the tone, though.
Don't matter. When your number is called, that's when you get busy.
Hey, so real quick, so a couple things, man. For those in the chat who not hip to G. Scott Sr., all right, anybody watch who not hip, this is why I was so excited to jump in on this interview. I had to tell my wife, I was like, I get to interview G. Scott Sr. tonight, babe. I made it. but you see the spirit and the energy, and it comes from a place of gratefulness, like you said. I mean, this is not, some act. This is this man's soul because of his journey, what he's been through. I've heard your testimony, brother. I've watched many interviews, so I know, your backstory. But I wanted to also say, real quick, I see the chat. Go Cavs. Thank you for the compliment on the shirt. They're up by 15, I believe, right now. I'm checking the score periodically. But anyway, I wanted to talk about what you were saying about Coach Day and the culture. I was really, really blessed by your son's interview with the podcast. And he was talking about his journey and how Coach Day never gave up on him. And that it was just another example of how much these players love Coach Day. And so I wanted to really shout that out and just kind of point to the culture. But I also wanted to ask you, because I was saying on the pod last week with Melo, I posted a clip, Melo. You seen the clip where I was talking about, I'm glad that we kept Ryan Day and this administration did not give up on him when a lot of the fan base wanted to give up on him. So as a father of a player, And I don't know what your relationship is like with Coach Day, but I wanted to ask you, where was your mind at before the Tennessee game when the drum beat was just banging loud and his back was against the wall? And then after the run, I guess, where did your mind go before that? And then what's your overall thoughts and perspective of that whole turnaround? And then, of course, you know, how he's been instrumental with your son and supporting him throughout his career. I know that's a lot. I'm sorry, but
No. You good to go. First, let me start with the national championship, and then I'll go back. Let me first start with the national championship by saying winning the national championship made it to where all of Buckeye Nation can now say, "Oh, Ryan Day, that's our coach," right?
Yeah.
So before the national championship, everybody in that building, when they say the Woody against the world, they already knew what Ryan Day was about. You see what I'm saying? The only reason why we're having this conversation the way that we are because they won the Natty, and then when they won the Natty, now everybody get the right now it's good now. But but even before Tennessee, the experts didn't know. Even Tennessee went out there butt naked. They was out there naked. That's how much confidence that they had in what they were going to do. That's how much confidence or lack of confidence that they had in Ryan Day. As a matter of fact, I remember I was in a hotel room in LA when they were getting ready to play against Oregon. And when they were getting ready to play against Oregon, I'm sitting in the hotel and I'm sitting there watching a little First Take. And good old Shannon Sharp really had a lot to say about the Buckeyes. And Shannon Sharp was talking. They call him Unk or they call him uncomfortable. What they call him? They call him Unk or uncomfortable. By the way, Shannon Sharp, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, any 54-year-old man hanging out with a 19-year-old, you got problems. I don't care if it's legal or not. If you're 54, 55 years old and you're rocking with a 19, 20-year-old, you got problems. You can't be my friend. And I can't believe they ain't fired your ass yesterday. Okay, let's get back to it. I didn't mean to get on a tangent right there, but I had to let y'all know. Back to Shannon Sharp talking all that stuff about the Buckeyes. And he got it done. So let me go ahead and slow it back down. I want to slow it back down by telling you guys this. Ryan Day not only saved my son's life, he saved a lot of young men's lives in there. The stories will continue to be told about Ryan Day for years to come, right? And that's the beautiful thing about life, right? Like sometimes in life, people will count you out, right? And you persevere and you go through adversity. And that's not just for football. For all your listeners right now that's watching, that's in the chat and all that, you yourself have something that you have gone through. You yourself have had situations where people did not believe in you. So you go back to 2022. It was a possibility, guys, that G. Scott Jr. was always going to be known for the headbutt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was. I mean, like if you think about it, check this out. He didn't commit a crime.
Right.
He didn't rob nobody. He didn't drink and drive. He let the emotions get the best of him, and he did a headbutt. He did a personal foul that people were not going to let that go.
Right.
Hey, and wait a minute. I'm sure glad that after Travion Henderson's personal foul, he ran a touchdown against Texas, or else we'd have been talking about that forever. You see what I'm saying?
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And so what I'm saying is if you go back to that moment, guys, who you think was there for my son during that time? And so a lot of people thought, well, he's going to transfer. He's going to do this and he's going to do that. It was bigger than a check somewhere else. That's what the Buckeyes built. Everybody, you notice how all the people last season, you guys saw it, Melo, B. Moses, you saw people say, oh, well, the Buckeyes, they paid for all this championship. Right. They paid $22 million. There's $22 million. So time out. Is that what you need to win? Because if it's $22 million to win, then all y'all should have a chance to win this year, right?
Right.
If that's all it is. You know what I mean? Like you got the quarterback from Tennessee. Matter of fact, the quarterback's brother from Tennessee at Arkansas, that dude didn't even take a snap and he left to go be with his brother. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. I just want to tell you guys, back to Ryan Day. The dude's special, man. The dude is special. And as Buckeye Nation should be grateful to have him. I'm just glad you all know now after the Natty.
Yeah.
But had he not won a Natty, then unfortunately, the majority of people wouldn't have known how special he is.
Yeah.
He was special to us, even without the Natty, even with the loss to the team up north, which was heartbreaking, right? But we still loved him.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's absolutely. And that's one of the things I mentioned this to Melo last week, and I said, because I have a podcast, I have a platform, and we all have a chance to declare things and say things and put stuff out in the atmosphere. And I said, I never once called for his head. Never once. Was I frustrated? Yes. Was I, upset? Was I disappointed? Absolutely. But G, and I'm bringing this up, I'm really pounding this drum because me as a person, I'm a bigger picture guy. So I could see the specialness in him, and I could hear the testimonies of how special he was with these young men. So it was all of that kept me from using my microphone to say, hey, fire this clown. Because I knew, I was like, I'm going to wait to the last second. I'm going to, even if he would have lost to Tennessee, I still wouldn't have disrespected him. I might have said, hey, it may be time to move on. Or I may have said that. But my point is because of everything you just said, I could see that. And so I was rooting for him so hard. Like, man, I really want him to get his flowers and push through this, because I can see that he's just not a really good coach. He's a great man, and he's impacting young men's lives and families' lives. And that is what the big picture. And so people was like, oh, well, you just a homer. Everything's just sunshine. And that's why, no, I could see, I could discern, I could tell what was going on. And so I was just grateful that he was able to break through for his family, for this team, and for this culture at Ohio State. And that's one thing me and Melo and Dev and Buckeye have been banging on is the culture is just huge, man. And we're appreciative of it. So I appreciate you laying that out for us, brother.
And absolutely. I just want to know, how does it feel to be a dad? I know how it is personally, but I want to ask you, because you actually have gone through it, experienced it, to have a young man and a son that carries your name, and he carries it with a high standard and reverence, to where he's out here baptizing not just his teammates, but the whole community.
Yeah.
And how the culture that they established will probably be here forever, to be honest with you. Just because, and I'm not saying they started it, but they took it to the next level, to where there's recruits right now that were never predicted to go to Ohio State that are flat out saying Ohio State's their leader because of the culture, because how they put Jesus first, and they make it normal and make them comfortable to be able to express their faith as well, and their true pathway and how they walk their life. So as a dad and as a man in general, how does that make you feel that your son has such a huge part, that not just what he did on the field and winning the Natty, but what he did on off the field is going to have such a long-lasting impact that 10, 20 years from now, there's going to be kids committing behind the culture that they established and took to the next level?
I'm grateful, right? I'm grateful that that he has turned into the man that so many believe that he could turn into, right? I'm grateful for the way that he fought through adversity. But I'm also grateful at the failures. I'm grateful for the times that things did not go well. And you have to realize, and I hope that if there's any families, any recruits, or any new Buckeyes that are watching this, I hope you understand that every part of Buckeye Nation, every part, both inside the Woody and outside the Woody, contribute to the development to what type of young man and man that your child becomes. And the reason why I'm saying that is I'm saying this. I would have used the headbutt again. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
At another university, that headbutt in a game, it's a personal foul. It's not really talked about. But at Buckeye Nation, it's a big deal because the expectation is so high. There is an expectation to win that game against a team up north. There's an expectation for excellence, right?
Yes,
If
sir.
you are a child and your parents expect straight A's, then there's probably a good chance that you're going to get straight A's. You see, everything, whether it's Coach Ryan Day, whether it's Coach Mick, and it's also the fan base too. Like, you know, a lot of times people say, man, you know, the Buckeye fans, man, they crazy. Yeah, they're very passionate about that. Yeah, and there's a standard. And because of that standard, there's a standard for my son who would want to get better, or other people's kids. I only speak on my son because I know my son. And a lot of times I don't want to speak on other people's kids. And so people would say, well, man, you're not playing G. Scott Jr. a couple years ago. You should go ahead and transfer. You know, one of the number one reasons why people transfer? Ego. Yeah. Now, sometimes, no, don't get me wrong. There are certain situations where it's warranted. I'm not saying that. But there are times where the ego plays because people on social media will tell you, oh, you're not playing, ha, 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 and oh, that person sucks, and next, and the media is like, oh, yeah, that person's going to transfer, and this and that.
Right.
Sometimes, and I look at my son who made the decision like, nah, I'm not transferring. I'm not transferring because I see what's special here. When Travion Henderson, I remember, I'll share this story with you guys. I remember we're down in Dallas, Texas, and we're down there for the Cotton Bowl, and that's when they were getting ready to play against Missouri. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
And we were all, my son, Travion, and we're sitting there talking, and we're talking about, you know, next season, because everybody thought Travion was going to go pro, right? And one of the things that Travion was talking about, he was like, man, I still want to pray about it, but I love this place so much. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of times when you hear these players or you hear them talk like that, sometimes you might think, oh, man, they just saying that for the cameras. Or they just saying that for the fans. But I'm bringing that up to just tell you that even the Travions and of the team, like all of them, there was an expectation. So even when they lost to the team up north in November, man, I don't know where you were, but boy, that was a rough day. It was
there in the stadium.
It was a rough day. But I don't know. If they win that game, do they win it all? I don't know.
I don't think so, personally.
We'll never know. Right. But I tell you what, I don't know about y'all, and shout out to any of my Gen X folks out there. Any of y'all raised on Rocky? I was raised on Rocky, baby. Yeah. If that wasn't no Rocky, if that wasn't no get knocked out by Clubber Lane in November, and then, you know what I mean? And then you show up to Moscow and you beat Ivan Drago, you know what I mean? And if I can change, and yous can change, everybody can change. Man, I'm telling you, man, it's like a Rocky movie. Knocked out Tennessee, boom, knocked out Oregon, boom, knocked out Texas, and then boom, knocked out Notre Dame, man. So I hope that answer got to you guys, and I hope it got to all of Buckeye Nation just to know that, look, keep that damn standard. Keep that fire. Don't be the fan base. There's a lot of fan bases in this country right now that's like, well, you know, they win 6 or 7 games or 7 or 8 games, you know, we're fine with that. We'll go to a nice bowl game where it's just some mobile game or some kind of fart game or gas tax game or whatever bull
Or the
crap game.
ReliaQuest.
Hey, y'all, hey, it's natty or bust.
Straight up. Real quick, Stilly Matt, talking about your son, G. He was the only non-captain who spoke at the trophy presentation and celebration. Not only that, that's a great honor, but they asked this young man to lead them in prayer.
Yeah.
That is a great honor. And I'm not saying anybody can pray. It's not about just praying. It's the fact that they wanted G to get up there and lead this team in prayer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's significant to me. So I was there in the stadium, and it was just so dope to see, man. But again, I'm glad we are hitting on this culture thing, because there's people out there, G, who I've heard say the brotherhood is just coach speak. It's just players speak. And it's not, behind the scenes, it's different. That's just what they project. And I'm just like, no, there's too much evidence there's too much testimonial evidence coming from these players and families to believe that this is some act. And so I'm glad you are on here as an insider to be able to testify to the fact that this culture is real. And just real quick, shout out to Cam Babb, y'all. I'm shouting out Cam Babb because, like Melo said, he's not saying that it started with this crop of guys, but these guys took it to another level. Guys like Cam Babb in that locker room, the Holy Spirit used them to light a fire in this team, to where the C.J. Strouds and the G. Scotts and the different, Travion Hendersons, like Emeka Ibuka. Go talk to them. They'll tell you Cam Babb was an instrumental person in their faith. So that's what happens when there's a revival. It just sparks a fire. So I'm saying it to say, yes, we see the fruits that are coming forth for the culture now, but years ago, seeds were planted, and it's just powerful to see. Because look, Melo, you mentioned this. I got it right here. 5-star O-line Darius Gray. He said, what I like about Ohio State is the atmosphere they are building there, but most importantly, they are open to spreading the gospel. Listen, man, when you're not ashamed of the gospel, you know what I'm saying? God is going to bless you. But listen, I know everybody out there is not a believer in Christ. I know that. Everybody's not a Christian. That's fine. But guess what? What's coming from this movement is a strong culture, positivity, the upliftment of young men and women, people who are around, all of that. So I'm just saying that to say, I'm super excited as a believer in Christ. I mean, I'm just blessed beyond measure to know that this culture is anchored in Christ. And that ring, G, did you see the ring up close with the cross in it?
I'm glad you bring that up, B.
Hold on, fellas. I got to do something. I forgot I was supposed to do this in the beginning. Is pretty important. I promised somebody that I would do this. I'm going to take a moment of silence for the two young men that just passed away, Avery Henry and Jeremiah Kelly. So I just want to give them about 10 seconds of just silence for them and their family. And I'm just going to say a little silent prayer for their family, because that's tough to lose. Kids, really. They weren't even 25, man. So.
Wow.
All right. So what were you about to say, Senior?
I want to go to that ring. I'm glad you brought up the ring. So I wasn't there. I had to work. I couldn't make it. By the way, I never made one spring game. That's another story.
Ever?
Never. I've never been to a spring game. So anyways, I had to work. So when I look on social media, I saw for some reason I saw my son's ring first, right? And I saw, he posted a picture, he had a cross on it. I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, man, that's cool. I said, who all got it? You, Travion, you guys asked him to do that? And he was like, no, all the rings got that. And I said, what? All the rings? I said, did you guys ask anything? He was like, no. And so here's what I loved about that. What I love about it is that in years to come, 50 years down the road, when people telling this story, you can't tell this journey and this story without bringing that up. So whether you're a believer or not, even if it doesn't matter, because that story was seriously a part of it.
My bad. I made a mistake. Avery Henry did not pass away. He's just battling cancer. So prayers out to him and his family. Thank God he's still here. And I'm glad I made that mistake because it's better for me to make the mistake than it to be a fact. So shout out to Avery Henry. And we know you're gonna beat this, my brother.
Yeah, amen. Amen. But no, that's a great point, G. Great point. And it's funny that you said that. Like, hold on, did you get that specially made? Listen, I was blown away when I saw that cross in there. But again, to me, the faith of this team, knowing that yes, they love the game, but life is bigger than the game, and that perspective to dig deep, I believe that culture and the root of that culture gave them the ability to get off the mat. Because like you said, G, it was literally like Rocky. I mean, we were down bad. We lost to the team up north at the crib, 21-point favorites. Yeah. And then of course they try to plant the flag. Sawyer ain't having it. It's just a mess. Buckeye Nation is just like, what just happened? Yeah. And so for them to bounce back like they did and go on the greatest college football playoff run ever, debate with your mama. That's a fact. No one's ever done that. So I don't care about the regular season losses. No college football team has ever run off 4 straight wins like that, ever. So for them to do that, it's just they need to do a 30 for 30 on this team, flat out.
Oh, they will.
And they do, but this is the thing. 30 for 30 seems to only like when it's all negativity. And I mean, do they really want to push a bunch of young men?
Are there any positive 30 for 30s? I'm thinking about that now. Is it all negative?
It tends to seem that way, but do you think they're really going to push a team that is representing and pushing Jesus and Yahshua so much and put it out there?
I would love
the documentary.
You know what, Melo? That's a very good point. And I think I'm with you. As someone, as you guys know, I am in media, and you know the old saying, and some of you all listening, you know the saying in the news, if it bleeds, it leads. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think that there's enough drama for a 30 for 30 for this team. Great story.
Right.
One that we all love, but how can somebody else across the country? Now, do I think that this story, okay, I don't want to get corny with you guys, right? But I do believe, I can see it. I can see the way a lot of athletes, not just Ohio State, but what's my girl's name from UConn? Paige.
Yeah.
You see, she's really out about her faith. So I do believe that this story will and is some of the reasons. Like Tim Tebow crawled so these guys can walk. Because Tim Tebow was really first at being outwardly about this. And then people were coming after that. But as far as it was him kind of by himself, you know what I mean? But this Ohio State team really is taking that message. So I think if the story is told, it'll be something faith driven.
Absolutely. And we had Riley Pettyjohn and TJ Alford on, and they're freshmen now. So they were with the team. They didn't play in the game, but they were with and around the team during the whole playoff run. And I asked them what did they think was the key catalyst. And TJ flat out said it's the culture. That culture is real. What people are speaking about, that's what you see and witness and experience every single day in the Woody and in the locker room. And he said, it's not a coincidence that the two teams that testified the most played against each other in a national championship. And he said, that's real. The faith part of this team was real. And basically God just elevated them to go ahead and testify more and glorify his name, to bring more people home to him, bring the lost sheep home. God used this team to bring the lost sheep home. Whether you believe it or not, I really don't care. You could debate that somewhere else, but that's what I truly believe. Their mission was bigger than a national championship. Their mission was to save lives. And I guarantee you, they probably don't know it. They probably saved a whole lot of lives And they might not even know the people that they saved. They might be faceless, nameless to them, but to God, they're somebody, and they're going to reap that reward. I'm telling you right now, they will.
Hey, y'all need to clip that. That
I don't know
part
how to clip it.
about
That's something Dev wanted me to holla at B Moses about after about. If
I'll clip that. I'm the clip guy.
Hey, that part about saving lives, because we'll never know, right?
Right.
You'll never know. We only hear about the lives that get lost. We don't hear about the ones that are saved because we don't know. That's real.
And
Yes,
real
sir.
quick, I'll say something real quick about this. Also, I don't know if y'all remember, everybody out there watching, when we lost those games, what did we see on social media, especially after the Team Up North game? See, all this praying, all this Jesus stuff, y'all soft. This is why we losing, because y'all praying too much. How about now?
Right.
I'm just saying. I just wanted to throw that out there. You know what I'm saying? People wanted to take jabs, but God is good. So anyway.
All the time. And I mean, you never know what God's going to do. Look at his disciples and how he used them and where they came from. None of them were perfect. They all had major flaws, you know.
What do you is interesting. I saw that too, calling them soft and all that.
Yeah.
What do you, in your opinion, if you got all of you guys in the chat too, what do you think's harder? If you walk down the street and somebody talks crazy to you and you just turn the other cheek and keep going, or is it harder to just react? I'd argue that it is harder to not react and respond to foolishness. I think that is hard. You know how hard, you know how many people today, their lives would be so much better if they didn't react and or respond? It takes way more discipline.
Wow. You know what? I feel like God just used you right now. I'm not even lying. I was just on a phone conversation before this. There's some drama behind the scenes going on. And I responded. And then now we're having this conversation right now. And now I'm about to go delete what I wrote. But y'all continue. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm like, man, I feel like God told him to tell me this personally.
Somebody turn to your neighbor and say that. Look at God, y'all. That's funny. But no, I do think self-control is obviously is a much tougher thing. But honestly, just the humility of realizing in a posture of prayer that, listen, man, this is bigger than me. Like, Lord, I need you. I need you to help me focus. I need you to, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you are my strength. And people just think, oh, what are they praying? The other team's praying too. They're not praying to win. They're praying to ask God to keep their hand on them, to keep them healthy, to keep them sharp. And they're also thanking him for even allowing them to be able to do this. I'm telling you. So it's just, that's a great point, bro. Like, self-control is much harder than just flying off the handle and just reacting. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I love hanging with you guys, man. I appreciate all you guys and everything, man. So
absolutely.
I just, before we go, I want to just say this, and I want to say this to all of Buckeye Nation and all of the listeners of Buckeye Boys and all that stuff. I want to say this. I think it's pretty cool. Well, before I get to cool, let me get to what it was going to be. Had those Buckeyes not won the national championship, there's probably a good chance that team would be forgotten. I was talking to Coach Ryan Day about this very thing. Yeah. I mean, you lost to the team up north a bunch of times. You didn't win the Natty, and then you move on. And it's not disrespect towards the team. It's just I mean, let's be real. You only remember the Natty type teams.
Right.
But the coolest thing is, man, as a father, that this is forever. This is forever. I can come to Columbus and go to my spots that I like to go to and come to the game, come to the shoe, and maybe I might wear a thing that says G. Scott Sr. on my back, but I know I'm gonna get love forever. That 2024 Natty banner is forever. So I hope that Buckeye Boys invites me back again. You know what I mean? And I hope that I'm able to come on and just talk life with y'all, talk Buckeye. And that's the thing, though. I can't wait for the season to start. I would be, hey, I got fits for days to wear. You know what I mean? I can't wait.
Absolutely. You're always welcome here, by the way. We consider you a part of the Buckeye Boys family and a part of the Scoop family as well, because we're one and the same, basically. We're connected. I thank you for coming on. I know you're busy and it
Yeah.
was short notice. I thank you, B Moses, for joining me. I gave you short notice as well to come on. I was supposed to ask you like a couple of days in advance, but I was kind of busy with my daughter's commitment. So I appreciate both you brothers for doing this. You both are energetic. You both are superstars. And starting with G Scott and then the B Moses, let the people know where they can find you, what you guys are up to, what you got coming up in the future for your life, and just a quick little rundown of what your expectations for next season is, especially with G Scott talking about the injuries we had on the O line last season. What are you expecting from this O line and from the 2025 Buckeyes?
Let's not even drag this out. Y'all know what the hell we expecting. It's natty or bust, baby. What we talking about? This game one. That Manning kid is the quarterback for Texas. There's gonna be a big game inside of the shoe. You're expecting this team. You're expecting for Jeremiah Smith to be and go down as the greatest wide receiver that's ever touched a blade of grass. There, you know what I mean? Come on, man. It's Buckeyes or everything. As for me, tomorrow I will be hosting the Seahawks draft party. That's what I'll be doing.
Are you going to be, is that going to be live? Can we watch it anywhere?
Nah, it won't be live. I mean, I'm sure when the picks come in, it will be, but nah, that's about it. So, you know me, guys, I stay working, but hey, y'all make sure y'all invite me back, man. I'm going to come back again.
You got an open invitation, my brother.
I appreciate it, man.
Well, Moses, what's your thoughts?
Go ahead, Moses. Go ahead, be Moses.
Oh, yeah, real quick. I'll be quick. So, first of all, I saw this earlier in the chat, Maze Madman. Only thing I got for you, brother, is a diss track, for your Wolverines. I can cook up a nice little diss track for you, same length as the intro to the Buckeye Boys. You know what I'm saying? Throw a little jabs in there, a few double entendres for you. But that's all I got for you, brother. But other than that, you can find me on all the platforms. Buckeye Sports Talk with B Moses. On Facebook, I just hit 38,000, y'all. My goal is 50K by the season opener, August 30th. I'm on IG, same name, B Moses on Twitter. I'm on TikTok as well. But I go live with Funky Buck on Buckeye Scoop YouTube channel every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We have a great time. And also my quick outlook on the season, I think we win a close game against Texas, a low-scoring close game against Texas, and we repeat. We win the Natty again. How about that?
There we go.
How about that? I mean, I honestly, this is my true, and this is not scarlet tinted glasses. I think we're going to have the number one defense in the country. I think we're going to have a top 5 offense, and I think we're going to repeat. As long as we rotate and develop that depth across all phases, because up until last year, let's just be honest, we didn't rotate enough, like straight up. All these players are good enough to play here. They're good enough to start a lot of other places. You have to rotate, especially in those blowouts. Like your starters, your defensive linemen, they can't, and they just proved that they could do it with the O-line. Those big bodies need breaks. They just do. And you want them fresh for the playoff run. And I feel like we have the right coaching staff, the right pieces in place. We had the 24 team that showed and left an example of how it's supposed to be done. And I think we're going to repeat. That's my honest to God's truth.
There you go.
So Buckeye Nation, on that note, shout out B Moses, shout out G Scott Senior for being on. One day we're gonna have to get Junior on so that way he could tell his story. It's a lot to his story, honestly, and I would like him to just be honest and give it out there because there's probably kids out there that can relate to him.
Sure.
Like seriously, there's kids that he could definitely reach and touch. And I think once this whole draft process is over for him and he gets situated where he's gonna go. Hopefully we can have him on so that way we can spread his testimony even more. And thank you guys for joining us today. Go ahead and give G. Scott Sr. a follow. Follow B. Moses. Hit that like and subscribe button. And on that note, go Bucks. OH.
All right. Yo, nice to meet you, G. Appreciate you, brother.